I want to thank you, Chairman, for calling the hearing, but I want to thank all of you, the witnesses, for being with us today, and I look forward to your remarks. The Chairman summarized this, but I do think this committee values hearing your perspective on the challenges facing the nation's wastewater infrastructure, as well as your thoughts on effective solutions to address those challenges through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. We're all here today to discuss that important issue of updating, possibly, the Clean Water SRF fund formula itself, which came into sharp focus during our consideration, as the chair said, of the Drinking Water and Wastewater Infrastructure Act. DWIA, that's what it's called, right? Got it. Around this time last
I knew there was an acronym there somewhere.
On that bill's way to enactment of the Infrastructure and Investment and Jobs Act, which I keep calling the BIF. So we're all into our acronyms. As we committed at that time to colleagues interested in this issue, we should consider updating the formula for the Clean Water SRF in the same bipartisan and thoughtful approach that we undertook in advancing DWIA to an 89-2 vote on the Senate floor. I believe ensuring reliable, modern water infrastructure is a fundamental responsibility of government. Water is not a red or blue issue. It's not a big city or small town problem. It's everybody, in everybody's best interests. The issues we are addressing today affect every single American, which is why I'm committed to doing the appropriate due diligence and outreach to ensure we come up with a final product that does not leave anyone behind. Since inception in 1987, when you voted for it, the Clean Water SRF has been an effective tool to provide much-needed federal funding to improve our nation's water and wastewater infrastructure, enjoying broad and consistent bipartisan support at the federal and state levels. Through the Clean Water SRF, EPA provides funding to states, which then issue loans to communities to facilitate infrastructure improvement projects. And we know through much testimony and certainly talking to our local government officials and folks who run these systems, many of them are very, very old and antiquated. Interest on these loans then revolve, providing additional funding for future projects and a greater investment return for taxpayer dollars. This program has been cost-effective and well-utilized, certainly in our state, with EPA leveraging $45 billion in federal dollars into more than $145 billion in assistance to local communities to improve their wastewater treatment systems, protect human health, and reduce pollution. It is noteworthy to mention that the reason that the SRF's success has been the flexibility given to it in the state revolving fund. Recently, EPA released a SRF memo that takes away, or potentially could take away, some of that flexibility, and I view that, as I have other memos by this administration, as an overreach. In April of 2021, Senators Rubio and Scott offered an amendment to the Drinking Water and Wastewater Infrastructure Act, which would have changed the formula deployed for 34 years to allocate state revolving loan funding. As I mentioned, Chairman Carper and I pledged to Senator Rubio and Scott that we would, and I know this is an issue for Senator Cully as well, that we would continue to work with them on this issue, which spurred today's hearing. I respectfully disagreed with the approach of their amendment, which was ultimately defeated, and would have converted the Clean Water SRF to a wholly population-based formula. This ignores the crucial issue of need, which was baked into the original formula, and for states like Delaware and West Virginia, could have had some negative effects. Need varies across and within the states based on population growth or reduction, the age or condition of existing infrastructure, and the unique public health, environmental challenges, and development needs of impacted communities. It is essential to me that rural communities are treated appropriately and that unique challenges in infrastructure deployment are accommodated in any revised Clean Water SRF formula. And this committee and the Congress explicitly acknowledge that need must be assessed and documented in the Clean Water SRF. Section 50220, I know you knew that, you knew what section it was, of the IIJA, carried over directly from DWIA, instructs the EPA within 2 years to conduct a clean watersheds needs assessment or survey along the lines of what the agency already does for the Drinking Water SRF. This information will be essential to any revision of the formula. I acknowledge that formula allocations set back in 1987 may not adequately address today's needs and demographic shifts, But given the complexity of the issues, we have our work cut out for us. Major changes to the Clean Water SRF should not be rushed and must be the product of a deliberative process here in Congress that allows impacted stakeholders the opportunity to provide the input needed to ensure that any legislative action works for all states and types of communities. It's one thing to draft a law here on Capitol Hill, but quite another to implement it back home. That is why this hearing with this panel of experts and the work that will follow is so very important. I remain committed to working on these clean water issues that are so important to me, the citizens of my state of West Virginia, and my fellow committee members. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back. Thank you.